Hi everybody, it's Emma here from Pilates in Uphill. Another Pilates class coming to you for focusing in on those core muscles, looking to strengthen up and improve posture. So we'll start by getting ourselves moving. Let's come to standing. So allowing our feet to be just underneath our hips, let's allow the toes to point forwards. And just allowing the eyes to close if you feel comfortable enough to, and allow the breath to come and go nice and gently. Taking a little bit of time to gently ease yourself into your breath and allow yourself to just zone into how you're feeling today, allowing all external concerns to be left outside the door and allowing your focus to become that inward and outward breath. Notice the rib cage gently expanding with each inward breath and deflating with each outward breath. And we'll see if we can take that breath nice and low. Allow ourselves to really release out into the pelvis so the breath really expands low. So we can allow ourselves to release into the hips there. Allow yourself to find a sense of softness into the knees and into the ankles. And then we'll gently shift our weight so it comes over the front of the feet. And we'll shift our weight so it comes into the back of the feet. Taking it through those two extremes. And then we'll find that place where our weight's right in the centre of the 2 feet. We'll gently connect up through the arches of the feet, as if we're trying to draw up into the inside of the foot. So we've got that little bit of energy through the arches of the feet. And we're going to do that without locking into the knees, so the kneecaps don't need to be gripping. Let's allow ourselves to zone in on the pelvis, and we'll gently tip the pelvis forwards and back. So gently tipping forwards, gently tipping back. We'll take it through those two extremes. And we'll find a place where the pelvis is nice and level. Lengthening nice and tall through the spine. And allowing the head to float up towards the space above us. Let's gently roll the shoulders back and down. Let's do that a few times to see if we can release any tension through the shoulders and just let it go. And those shoulders ease towards one another and sink down towards the tailbone. As the shoulders glide down towards the tailbone, let's draw up through the pelvic floor muscles, draw up through the abdomen. Take a nice deep inhalation into the rib cage and allow the right arm to float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arm floats back down, we'll allow the opposite arm to start to lift. And we're changing sides each time. Arms float up as one arm floats upwards, the other one's floating down, and we'll find that sense of energy as the fingertips reach in opposite directions. Let's see if we can get those shoulders to really glide down the back on both arms. And last one here. Allowing the arms to come back by our sides. Taking a nice deep breath, we'll allow the right ear to dip down towards the right shoulder. And the head gently lifts up and over to the opposite side. And again, the head lifts up, over to the right side. Up and over to the second side. And as we bring the head into the centre, we'll allow the head to gently rotate as if we're looking over our right shoulder. Coming into the centre, rotate the head round to the opposite side. And again on each side. As the head comes into the centre, we'll allow the chin to tuck towards the chest. We'll start to allow the head to become heavy. And we'll start to roll down through the spine, coming down through the vertebrae, bit by bit, piece by piece. Take a nice deep breath at the bottom. And then breathing out as we roll up through the spine. Head comes on top, and we lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, and allow both arms to float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down. Again, releasing through the top of the head, rolling down through the spine, strengthening through those core muscles. Nice deep breath at the bottom. Breathing out as we roll up through the spine. Head comes on top, we lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down. Both arms float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down. This time let's take a little softening through the knees, as if you were sliding down the wall, the arms open out to the side, and floating the arms back down. And again, releasing, rolling through the spine, piece by piece, bit by bit. Nice deep breath at the bottom. Breathing out as we roll up through the spine. Shoulders stay gliding down the back. We'll lift them, roll them back and down. Both arms float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down. Softening through the knees, let the arms open out to the side. And then we'll lengthen the legs and we'll take a little side bend. Right fingertips glide down the side of the leg, head extends out and away. Breathing in as you come back to the centre. And then rotating, extending up and over to the opposite side. Let's do that again on each side. If you want to add the top arm in, do. Move it up and over. Breathing in as the arm comes back up and over to the second side. And coming into the centre, release through the top of the head. Let's roll down through the spine once again. Nice deep breath at the bottom. Breathing out as we roll up through the spine. Head comes on top, we lift the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, let both arms float forwards and up. Breathing in as the arms float back down, we'll soften through the knees, let the arms open out to the side. And lengthening the legs up and over to the right side. We can add that top arm in, you don't have to. You can leave the arm by your side if you want to. Especially if there's any twinging in the back, just allow the arms to stay by your side. And then as we come into the centre, we'll draw the fingertips in towards one another and let the ribcage rotate round. So watching the hips, they're not going to move. They're going to stay nice and stable and still. And we're breathing in as we return back to the centre. Just allowing that breath to flow nice and gently. So if any of these exercises start to feel a bit like you're breathing in the opposite direction to me, it's fine. Just allow the breath to come and go like a tide, coming and going, no starts and no stops. And coming back to the centre, releasing through the top of the head, rolling gently down through the spine. Take a nice deep breath at the bottom. And breathing out as we roll up through the spine. As we get to the top, we'll lift the shoulders, we'll roll the shoulders gently back and down, let both arms float forwards and up, tailbone descends down. Breathing in as we float the arms down. Now keep the tailbone descending down, long through the top of the head, long torso as we take that bend through the knees. And then lengthening the legs up and over to that right side, up and over. Extending through the top arm, let the other fingertips glide down. So we've got the weight staying equally in both feet. This time as we come into the centre, we can draw the fingertips together, or we can let the arms go long, or we can bend in through the elbows. Pelvis stays nice and still. Again, breathing in as we return back to the centre, rotating gently round. Breath in as we come back to the centre. Once again on each side. And then as we come into the centre, let's cut the space with our hands. And let those shoulders glide down the back. Take a nice deep breath in. And the arms gently open out to the side. Breathing in as we come back to the centre. Good. And again, opening gently out. Last one here. This time we've got this thing balanced on our right hand. It's very fragile. We're going to allow it to come above the head without spilling anything. And then drawing back and round. So we do the same on the other side. Don't spill whatever it is that you've got carefully balanced on your tray. Once more on each side. And then let's allow those arms to press away from us. Pushing through the heel of the hand. Take a deep breath. We'll gently circle on 3, 2, 1. Circle back for 3, 2, 1. Taking the hands behind our back. And we'll see if we can find the elbows. If you want to, you can see if you can find a prayer position just behind you. Fingertips point up towards the head. If that's too much, then the fingertips can point down. If we can get those shoulders to really glide towards one another. But if we don't want to do those two, we've got hold of the elbows and we're allowing the shoulders to glide together. Watch out that the tailbone doesn't just suddenly jut backwards. We want to still keep that tailbone descending down and softness in the knees. One more breath. And then let's allow the arms to really stand by our sides. Give them a little shake out. And taking a little bit of balance work from there. So if you haven't got the eyes open, do open them now. Find a fixed spot on the wall in front of you. Find a fixed spot on the wall in front of you. Taking a nice deep breath, and we'll allow the heels to gently lift away from the floor. And then floating the heels back down. And again, the heels lift away from the floor. Nice and deep with the breath, floating the heels down. Taking 2 more like that. And then we're going to add our squat action in. So we'll allow ourselves to take a little squat. We're going to sink the pelvis back. Weight goes into the heels. And then we'll breathe out as we connect in through the bottom, come up to lift and taking that rise. And then again, weight goes into the back of the heels, sinking into the pelvis. And we lift up nice and tall. Engage through the bottom as you stabilise then. Taking 2 more like that. Last one. So from here, we'll allow the right foot to lift. So we'll allow the knee to gently float up, and we'll take that, float the leg back down, change over to the other side. And softening the leg down. So we allow the right leg to lift. We'll allow the knee to gently open out to the sides. Drawing the leg back in, and as you do, aiming to keep the hips really nice and level and still, changing over to the other side. Knee opens out to the side, breathing in as the leg returns, and we float the foot back down. Again, right leg lifts, this time we'll add the arms. Let the knee open out to the side as the arms open out. Drawing the arm leg back in, and floating gently down, changing over to the opposite side. Good. And again, this time, we'll allow the knee to open out to the side, drawing the leg back in, and then we'll allow that leg to stretch away from us. Long through the top of the head, stretching out through the fingertips. Bring the foot back in, change over to the other side. Knee opens out to the side. We bring the arm back in, and stretching the toes away from us as we lengthen out through the fingertips. Drawing the leg back in. Once again on each side. This time, if you feel ready to, we're going to stretch the leg away and allow the torso to come level with the floor. So we come parallel to the floor as we tip into the torso. Shoulders glide down the back as the fingers stretch out and away. And then we draw the legs back in and we lift. Knee opens out to the side. Drawing the leg back in. And stretching that leg away from us. Extending out and away, shoulders glide down the back. And then drawing back in. Good. So we'll take a deep breath from there. We're going to take our roll down through the spine, and we're going to take just 4, taking it into our push-up exercise. So we'll release through the top of the head. We'll allow ourselves to roll down through the spine, softening at the knees, walking the hands gently forwards. And we'll take the hands wide, wider than the shoulders. If you've got a mat here, they'll probably be wider than the mat. We let the chest lower to the space between the hands, breathing out as we push up and away from the floor, walking the hands in, and we'll roll up through the spine. Press the heels into the ground, let the head be heavy, rolling up through the spine. When you get there, let's take that rise. And we'll add that little squat in as well, just for good measure. And lengthening up tall. Again, we'll release through the top of the head, rolling down through the spine. Head is nice and heavy, walking the hands gently forwards. And each time we'll see if we can take the weight slightly further forwards. Note that the chest is going between the hands, not the eyes. So your eyes are going forwards of the hands. Walking the hands back in, rolling up through the spine. Letting the head be really heavy. Head comes on top. Take a little rise when you get there. Heels float gently down. We sink into the pelvis, sinking back. So we've got 2 more. Let's make them really count. Allowing ourselves to roll down through the spine. We'll make sure we're challenging ourselves without struggle. So just check that you've got the chest going back. We're not dropping backwards here, but we're taking our weight forwards. Rolling up through the spine. And this is going to be our last time through. So we'll allow ourselves to really challenge ourselves. We want to come to a place just before the shudders, just before we feel as though we're pushing ourselves too far. So maybe we can allow ourselves to lift the knees. See how it feels. If you're thinking, no, that's going to be awful on my back, then don't do it. Keep the knees down. Lower the knees if you've got them lifted and sit back onto your heels. So we lengthen the arms out in front of us. We rest the forehead and breathe nice and gently. Take a deep breath from there and then just walk the hands over to that right side. And we're going to lengthen out through the left hand. Push into the left hip. Take a nice deep breath. And then taking a deep breath, we'll walk the hands around to the opposite side. Reaching the right hand forwards. And pushing into the right hip. And then coming into the centre. Let's bring ourselves onto hands and knees. Allow the knees to come underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. So we'll take a deep breath from there. We're going to breathe out and we're going to squeeze in through the tummy so that we can push the back up into the sky. So we really get a nice connection into the tummy and push into the back. And then we lengthen out and away from the head and extends out and away, tail stretches in the opposite direction. Let's take 2 more like that. Those shoulders gliding down the back as you come back to that tabletop position. Just 1 more. Now, as you lengthen out to that position, we'll take a deep breath. As we breathe out, we're going to glide the right leg away from us. Breathing in as the leg returns. Extending the opposite leg away. If you feel ready to, as that leg extends away, we can allow the opposite arm and the leg to extend away. So to start off with, I'm just going to a point where the Fingertips and the toes are just touching the floor still. They're just about to lift off, but they're not quite lifting off yet. Then if you feel ready to, we'll give it an extra little connection in the bottom, and we'll stretch and lengthen to the hips and the shoulders are level, the arms are level with the hips and the shoulders, and coming in. So lengthening arm and leg away. There's a nice long line between the two. One more on each side. And as we come in from there, take a breath. We're going to lift the right arm and feed the arm through the gap between the hand and the knee. Breathing in as we come back to the center. And then changing over to the other side, lifting the arm and feeding the arm through. Breathing in as we return. So we're changing arms each time, lifting through the arm and feeding gently through. Breath in as we return back. Changing over to the other side. And finishing off there, let's allow ourselves to come onto our fronts. Lowering gently down, and we'll take the elbows nice and wide. So once we're there, we'll allow the nose to be hovering just an inch away from the floor. We'll allow the arms to be resting really heavy into the ground, and we'll allow the legs to be nice and heavy on the floor as well. Take a nice deep breath for me, connect in through the belly button, and then as we breathe out, we're going to get the shoulders to glide down the back, head's going to extend out and away, and the breastbone gently lifts. And we breathe in as we float back down. So keep that going for me. I want you to connect into those deep core muscles. So we've got the belly button drawing away from the ground. We've also got the pelvic floor engaging. You can think of one or the other to really focus on here. It might be good to either connect into pelvic floor or deep abdominal muscles. And as we do that, we're looking to get that movement through the shoulders. So the shoulders are really gliding down the back and the head is extending out and away. And we breathe in as we float back down. Just take one more for me. And then we'll draw the hands together and we'll rest the forehead down onto the hands. So stay as you are. I'm going to keep my head lifted so you can hear what I'm saying. We're going to take a little foot pattern which is going to engage into the hamstrings, get them activated, and give us a little workout for our brains. So we take a deep breath in and we ping the right foot towards us, and the foot is pointed. It rebounds and it flexes through the foot. We rebound, we point the foot, and then we release away. So we do the same thing on the other side. We've got a point and a flex, and a point and stretch away. Point and a flex. We're changing sides each time. Point and a flex, and a point. One more each time. Point and a flex, and a point, release away. Last one on the left side, and release away. Let's see if we can take hold of that right foot. So we're going to take a nice stretch into the quad here. You might want to flex the foot, so really finding that sense of activation through the leg. If you find it difficult to grab your foot, you might find that if you're on your side, you can grab hold of your foot. The other thing you can do is get a band or a strap or like a dressing gown belt or something like that. Wrap that around your foot, and then you can get it to come on in. Once you're there, we're going to allow the knees to be quite close together as we can. And we've got that sense of the tailbone lengthening away from us to really allow ourselves to engage in through the front of the thigh. And we'll release there, change over to the other side. So we allow the arms come in front of us, taking hold of the foot, and then you can release your head down. Just a lengthening through the tailbone, releasing through the front of the thigh, and then releasing the legs from there. Let's allow ourselves to come onto our backs and we'll allow ourselves to release down into the floor. If that's enough for you, we've done about half an hour, so if you wanted to just do a shorter session today, that's brilliant. And if not, there's another session that you can watch in a moment, and we'll start on the floor.